The Slit-Mouthed Woman. The Slit-Mouthed Woman is a Japanese urban legend about a vengeful spirit who asks if she's beautiful before deciding how you die. Her name is Kuchisake Onna, but you don't need to know Japanese to understand the nightmare she's selling. Picture this: a woman in a beige trench coat, polite, soft-spoken, with a surgical mask over her face. You think she's just another stranger in a quiet alley. Then she asks, "Am I pretty?" And you, poor, deluded, mammal-brained you, say yes. She pulls down the mask, and there it is. A mouth carved from ear to ear, jagged like a grin drawn by someone holding a knife in the dark. You think the answer is obvious. Say no and run. If you say no, she kills you instantly. If you say yes, she makes you just like her. A walking anatomy lesson on why you should never engage with strangers who speak in riddles. It's not a trick question. It's a death sentence disguised as social interaction. The genius of this legend is in its psychological warfare. She's the embodiment of the anxiety you get when someone corners you in conversation and you can't find the right answer. Except here, the stakes aren't awkwardness, they're disfigurement. It's a trap with no right choice. A Kobayashi Maru for your face. Some versions say you can throw her off by answering, "You're average," or asking her back, "Do you think I'm pretty?" Like, that's gonna work. This is a ghost, not a dating app. You think a centuries-old spirit who's been carving smiles into strangers is gonna stop mid-murder to have a thoughtful dialogue about mutual attraction? What really kills me, metaphorically for now, is that she's a legend that adapts. In modern retellings, she trades her traditional kimono for jeans and a hoodie, blends into urban crowds, wears pandemic masks like camouflage. It's not just folklore anymore. She's become a thought virus. Every masked stranger in the street is suddenly a potential Kuchisake Onna. You can't shake her off. She's in your head. She's in your face. And if she asks you that question, just remember, you've already lost. The Vanishing Hitchhiker. The Vanishing Hitchhiker is a ghost who gets into your car and disappears before you reach the destination, usually after dropping a bombshell about being dead. There's something cruelly elegant about this one. It's not loud. There's no screaming, no clawing at your windows, just a stranger in the rain asking for a ride. You oblige because you're a human being and because horror movies have apparently taught you nothing. The conversation starts innocuous. Where are they headed? Do they live nearby? They might tell you a sad story. You might even feel sorry for them. And then, poof, mid-drive or right as you arrive, the seat's empty. The air smells different, and you're suddenly aware that your body's gone cold. Later, you investigate because you're curious or stupid or both, and you find out they died years ago, maybe in a car crash, maybe on that exact road. And your brain starts clawing at itself because you heard them, you saw them. You might have even glanced at them in the rear view and caught a look in their eyes that said they knew something you didn't. It's a masterclass in minimalism. This legend doesn't rely on gore or jump scares. It weaponizes absence. One moment they're there, the next they're not, and you're left alone in a moving vehicle, realizing you've been chauffeuring the dead, and it's never the same twice. Sometimes it's a young woman in prom attire, sometimes it's an old man. Sometimes they warn you about something ahead, and if you're unlucky, they're right. What's so viciously clever is that it hijacks a universal human instinct, the urge to help. The legend punishes empathy itself. It forces you to ask, next time you see someone in need by the roadside, is this real, or am I already talking to a ghost? And in that split second of hesitation, you've already opened the door, literally and metaphorically, for whatever's waiting to get inside. The Black-Eyed Children. The Black-Eyed Children are pale, monotone-voiced kids who knock on your door at night and ask to be let in. Eyes solid black, smiles wrong in ways you can't describe. You know how kids are supposed to be the symbol of innocence? This is that idea inverted and then shoved through a paper shredder. They show up in pairs or alone, dressed in outdated or oddly plain clothes, speaking with a formality that feels rehearsed. Not polite in the well-raised sense, but polite like they learned English from watching instructional videos in a bunker. And the eyes, no whites, no iris, just void. The kind of void you could fall into and never stop screaming. They don't force their way in, they ask. And here's the thing, you have to let them in. They can't cross the threshold uninvited, which means your own free will is the only thing between you and whatever cosmic horror they're carrying. They're patient. They keep talking. They keep asking, "We just need to use your phone. We're cold. Our parents will be here soon." They keep it just plausible enough to tug at your empathy while their presence gnaws at your hindbrain like a rat in the walls. People say if you let them in, you either vanish, get violently ill, or find your life slowly corroding. Electronics breaking, pets acting strange, nightmares dripping into your waking hours. And the worst part? You might never know what they are. Demons? Aliens? Interdimensional parasites? Whatever they are, they've studied us enough to know that the fastest way past your defenses is through your compassion. They're not knocking on your door for shelter. They're knocking to find out how much of you they can own before you realize you've already handed them the key. The Hookman. The Hookman is the killer you almost meet, a maniac with a hook for a hand who haunts lovers' lanes and empty parking lots, leaving just enough evidence to keep you awake forever. This one's practically a morality play wrapped in bloodstains. You're parked somewhere dark, trying to enjoy a makeout session, and the radio interrupts with a news alert about an escaped mental patient with a hook for a hand. You laugh it off because you're a horror movie cliche in motion. But then you hear something, scratching against the car, a light tap, maybe the sound of metal against glass. You start the engine and peel out of there because, hey, the story's in your head, right? Except when you get home, there's something dangling from the passenger side door. A hook, rusted, slick with something you don't want to identify in the porch light. The brilliance of the Hookman isn't in catching you, it's in almost catching you. He doesn't have to gut you to get inside your mind. He just has to remind you that you left a window cracked or didn't check the back seat, that your moment of distraction was enough for him to get that close. It's urban predation distilled into one terrifying symbol, the hook. The fact that you can hold the proof of your near death in your hands is what rots you from the inside. Every time you hear a scrape, a clang, a distant metallic knock in the dark, you remember the hook and wonder if next time he won't miss. Bloody Mary. Bloody Mary is the mirror-bound phantom you summon by chanting her name, and she's the reason bathroom lights feel wrong after midnight. This isn't a monster that chases you through the woods or claws at your window. She waits for you to come to her. You stand in a dark bathroom, door shut, lights off, maybe a candle if you're feeling theatrical. You look in the mirror and say it, Bloody Mary. Once, twice, 3 times. The air thickens, shadows pull closer, and then you swear the reflection moves faster than you do. Her origin shifts depending on who's telling it. A murdered woman, a wronged witch, a mother who died in childbirth. But every version ends with her trapped behind glass, waiting for someone dumb enough to unlock the door with their voice. Some say she'll scratch your eyes out, others that she'll drag you into the mirror world, leaving your friends staring at an empty bathroom. It's playground-level horror with a grown-up psychological hook. The act is simple, but the fear is sophisticated. It's the terror of watching your own face become not your face, of realizing you've given your reflection permission to stop pretending it's you. The genius of Bloody Mary is she doesn't need to exist physically. She's a ritual, a dare, a test of nerve, and once you've tried it, even as a joke, you can't completely trust mirrors again. You start catching flickers in your peripheral vision, wondering if the dark spot in the corner of the glass is just a shadow, or her still watching, waiting for you to say her name again. The Licked Hand. The Licked Hand is a home invasion legend about a girl who thinks her dog is comforting her at night, until she finds out it wasn't the dog. It plays like a slow burn nightmare. A girl's parents are away and she's left home alone with her trusty dog. At night, she hears noises, creaks, distant drips. She's scared, so she hangs her hand over the bed and the dog licks it reassuringly. This goes on until morning. When she finally gets up, she finds the dog dead. Sometimes in the closet, sometimes hanging from the shower rod, with a note in smeared red, "Humans can lick too." It's pure psychological sadism. The killer was in the room with her the whole time, close enough to touch her, and she thought she was safe. That's the hook, the false comfort. the warmth of a familiar presence masking the fact that you're in mortal danger. It's one of those legends that leaves you obsessively checking locks, closets, and under beds. It forces you to reconsider every small sound in your home, every reassuring touch you've taken for granted. And it's clever because it exploits intimacy, that primal half-asleep state where your guard is down and your brain accepts comfort without question. You can't outthink it. You can't prepare for it. All you can do is wonder if the next time you feel a reassuring touch in the dark, you should turn on the light. The Smiling Man. The Smiling Man is an uncanny nighttime stalker who follows you through empty streets, moving wrong, grinning wider than human faces should allow. There's no blood here, no claws, no hook hand. Just a man, or something wearing the shape of one, in an ill-fitting suit, standing under a flickering street lamp. You notice the grin first, stretched too far like it's stapled there. Then the way he moves, exaggerated, jerky, like a marionette handled by someone drunk. You cross the street, so does he. You speed up, so does he, but not like a jogger, like a dancer in some grotesque private performance, limbs swinging too loosely, head lolling in slow circles, and all the while, that grin never wavers. You know you're in trouble when you realize he's not just following, he's matching you. Matching your pace, your stops, even your turns, as though the whole thing is a game. And you can't hear footsteps, just the soft, shuffling whisper of his shoes dragging against the asphalt. The Smiling Man is the purest form of predator theater. He doesn't attack immediately because the point isn't just to hurt you, it's to warp you into something that exists in relation to him, to turn you into prey in your own city. The smile is the weapon. It's not joy, it's ownership. And by the time you're running full speed, lungs burning, knowing he's still behind you with that impossible grin, you understand you were never meant to make it home. Polybius. Polybius is the phantom arcade game that supposedly appeared in Portland in 1981, causing seizures, nightmares, and compulsive play before vanishing without a trace. It starts innocently, a black arcade cabinet with a strange geometric logo, no branding, and gameplay that feels hypnotic. Players describe vector patterns twisting into impossible shapes, sound effects that burrow into your skull, and subliminal flashes that made them feel different. Euphoric, terrified, addicted. Then come the side effects: insomnia, memory loss, aggression, and a gnawing paranoia that someone was watching them, which, according to the legend, was true. Men in black suits reportedly collected data from the machines at night, never speaking to anyone. Polybius is the perfect digital age ghost story. It blends Cold War paranoia, early video game culture, and the idea that your mind can be hijacked through play. It's not a demon or a killer. It's a program, and programs can't be stabbed or exorcised. They run until someone pulls the plug, and by then, you might not want them to. The genius of Polybius as an urban legend is that it feels just plausible enough. Experimental mind control games, government psychological ops, people have done stranger things, and the fact that no one's ever found a real cabinet doesn't kill the story, it feeds it. Because what's scarier than a game you can't prove existed, but can still remember playing?